Hi everyone. So in this video, we are going to be talking all about potty training. I have pulled together some of my best tips to help you guys out in this video. So let's get started. Let me pull up my other screen real quick and we'll be ready to go. Great, perfect. So potty training, it's a big topic. It's a one that a lot of owners obviously want to get right. And so we will look at what that looks like. So the goal for potty training, it's to teach your puppies to go to the bathroom outside. Um, that is what this whole endeavor is about. It's teaching them to go to the bathroom outside. But there's a small mindset shift that I might need you to make depending on where you're at. Just wanted to mention this to bring us all up to the same page. So we're teaching our puppies to go to the bathroom outside, not we're teaching our puppies to not go to the bathroom inside. And while at the end of the day that accomplishes the same goal, so to speak, how we get there is a little bit different, and that's important. So if I'm teaching my puppy, if my focus is on teaching my puppy to go to the bathroom outside, then I'm going to be doing things like preventing accidents in the house, rewarding him for going outside, and really making that our focus. But if I'm teaching my puppy to not go to the bathroom in the house, then I may not be quite on top of it as much when it comes to preventing accidents, because I might think if we have an accident, I can just use that as a teaching moment to teach him not to go to the bathroom in the house. And the reason why I'm bringing this up is because from what I have seen, when we teach our puppy, or when we get into our puppies, like correct them for having an accident in the house, it doesn't tend to go the way that we hope it would. They don't seem to make the connection, a lot of them anyway, don't seem to make the connection that because they're not supposed to go in the house, that means outside is the right place. A lot of times what I see is they will not want to go to the bathroom in front of you because they know they're going to get in trouble, or they'll go to the bathroom anyway in the house and just act guilty afterwards because they know they're going to be in trouble. So it doesn't really seem to help make the connection that outside is the proper place. So that's why I choose to focus on teaching them to go to the bathroom outside instead of disciplining for accidents in the house. Just a mindset shift that some people might need to make, and that's going to affect the rest of this presentation. So I want to make sure we're up to speed on that. So as puppy owners, we have several tools that we can take advantage of to help us in this teaching endeavor. And the first one is accident prevention. So accident and prevention is super important, because what your puppy practices the most is what he's going to learn to do the most quickly, is what he's going to learn to do the fastest, however you want to say that. So if he's practicing going to the bathroom outside, he's going to learn that's where I go to the bathroom. But if he's having regular accidents in the house, he's not going to learn that outside's the place he's supposed to go very quickly. So preventing accidents is super, super important. And my number one tip for preventing accidents in the house is to not let your puppy run the house while you multitask. That is one of the surest ways to make sure that your puppy has an accident in the house without you knowing about it, maybe even for a couple of hours afterwards, which is not the kind of training we want to be taking place here. That is potty training, but not the proper kind. So for me, this looks like if my puppy is always in one of these places. He's either with me, so like tethered to my waist, or maybe I might have him on a leash and have the handle hooked around my ankle or something. He's with me somehow. He's tethered, like in a tether station, like what this picture indicates. He's in his crate, or he's outside, like in the yard with me or something like that. Those are his options, not running the house unsupervised. And the reason for that is if he's running, no, if he's with me, I'm going to be more in tune to when he needs to go out. I'm going to be able to learn quicker what he looks like when he needs to go out. We can prevent a lot more accidents if I'm right there with him. It also, some people don't like the idea of like restricting their puppy's freedom, and they want him to run the house. Well, eventually he can get old. He'll be old enough. He'll learn the skills he needs, and he can run the house. But really, the way I look at it is, at this age, he's just simply too young. He's too young for the responsibility of running the house, the full house. He just can't handle it. He needs to learn more tools. He needs to learn more skills before he can handle that much responsibility. Also, if you control their access to the house like this, not only is it going to help your potty training, it's also going to help prevent bad habits like running crazy in the house or chewing on bad or inappropriate things, or just overall learning bad house manners. Because as he matures, as his potty training progresses, as his obedience training progresses, all those things, he just gets more mature in general, he'll get access to more and more areas of the house for longer and longer periods of time, and you can really prevent a lot of those unwanted behaviors this way. So it's also great for other things other than just potty training, but it's really important for accident prevention. I have found it to be pretty much essential for that training. So, but this isn't we still have other, this isn't going to solve all your, this isn't going to be able to help you prevent all your accidents, if I can get this out. You're also going to need to learn how to predict when he needs to go out. You're going to need to know when does he need to go out so you can take him out before he actually has to go. Like it's an emergency sort of thing. So obviously some of this is going to vary depending on every day. It's going to vary every day. But there are certain times when your puppy, it's just automatic, he needs to go out. And one of those times would be after eating. So there's a little bit of learning of how your puppy is that goes into place here. But so after eating, maybe 10 to 15 minutes after he eats, he might need to go outside. After waking up, always, immediately, as soon as I can get up and walk, and they're coherent enough to walk around, they need to go outside after they wake up. When he's been playing hard, this one's a big one. A lot of people don't realize it, right off the bat. If he's been playing hard, even if he was out just 15 minutes ago, he's probably going to need to go again. So if he's playing and then he takes a break and he starts to kind of wander around, take him out immediately, because that means he needs to go, most likely anyway. And every hour in between. So basically, that means a lot. You're going to be taking him outside a lot. It might seem like you're always just, in the beginning anyway, it might seem like that's all you do is take your puppy outside. And sometimes it can feel that way. But it's really worth it. It's worth it to put this much effort into it in the beginning, because it will pay off eventually. It will pay off eventually. But these are anchors. They're not the only times you're going to need to take your puppy out, obviously. A lot of times, if you're taking him out after he eats, after he wakes, after he's been playing hard, after he drinks, I don't have that on there, I don't know why, but that needs to be on there, like 5, 10, 15 minutes after he drinks, that is important to take him out too, especially if you drink a lot of water. This will help you predict when he needs to go out, which will help you prevent a lot of accidents. So I say here every hour in between, or every hour. I see a lot of people who recommend taking your puppy out every hour and 30 minutes. For me, I've never been able to make it that long with a new puppy. It's always been, we go out way sooner than that, way more often. So I put every hour on there. I actually, most of the time when I'm training a puppy, I don't watch the clock for every hour. And that's because, after you've trained a few different puppies, you kind of skip this internal puppy alarm that goes off, and you'll be just doing something else and you're like, that puppy needs to go outside, and you'll take him out. So every time I start training a new puppy, I kind of have to adjust it. And I also kind of have this like internal calculator that is, when's the last time he drank, when's the last time he ate, when's the last time he went out, how long has he been playing, all those kind of things all combined, and I come up with times. I'm not always accurate. Sometimes I'm not accurate, but so if you are struggling with potty training, definitely watch the clock. But you're also there's a part of learning your puppy, and as you learn your puppy, you're going to be able to just kind of have this natural feel for when he needs to go out. Like I said, I call it the puppy alarm. You're like, oh, that puppy needs to go out, and you don't even need to bother looking at the clock because he needs to go out right now. Part of that is just learning your puppy, and it's, like I said, it's not the most reliable, so especially if you're having any struggles with potty training, definitely keep an eye on the clock. Some puppies need to go out more often than others. I had one puppy that had to go out every 20 minutes. So in the beginning especially. But just to throw this out here, if your puppy is going to the bathroom extremely often, like say every 5 minutes or something like that, it's not impossible that he doesn't have a UTI. And if you think he might, if he's just constantly going, then take him to your vet. But otherwise, if it's just like your 15 minutes, every 20 minutes, every 30 minutes, that's normal puppy. If he's been playing or doing any activity at all. If he's sleeping, obviously he can go longer. And we'll talk about some crate time in just a minute. Because these are just anchor points for when I know he's going to need to go out. But there's other times in between that he's going to need to go out as well. But having a schedule that you have him on, where you are scheduling out his food, his water, his sleep time, his play time, all that is going to be really helpful for you in predicting when he needs to go outside. So here I have a sample schedule. It's just that, it's a sample. It's kind of based off of what I did when I was potty training Jubes, what my days typically looks like. This is the same one on the website, so you can go there if you need to print out a copy of it or anything like that. But as you see here, my schedule is different than my schedule back then was different than yours is now, I'm sure. And the fact that I needed my mornings to focus on work. So you'll see here that in the morning, Jubes is in her crate from like 7:15 or 7:35 or whatever it is to 12 o'clock with a break at 9 to kind of stretch your legs and potty break, play a little bit, and then go right back into her crate. That was how I needed the break, and you might find that you need a break too. I needed the break to focus on work, but also I wanted to schedule out that sleep time. So she slept in her crate in the mornings, and then in the afternoons I had her out with me and on a tether and doing other activities. But I just really used the morning to kind of give her sleep time. Also, it was also what I used to teach her to become content in her crate, because if you are working outside the home, your puppy's going to need to be in his crate while you're gone, and so that's naturally just going to work in. But those who are working at home right now, you might be tempted to not use the crate as much because, well, you're home, so you can watch them and they don't have to be in a crate. But I would really encourage you to not skip crate time, and crate time being more than just a couple hours, because it's a really, really important skill for your puppy to learn to be content being in his crate with nothing really exciting going on. So basically learning how to be bored in his crate and being okay with that. So like on the schedule here, obviously a young puppy cannot hold it for very much longer than just an hour or two, or 3, depending on the puppy and their age. So here I took Jubes out at 9-ish for a potty break, and then I put her right back in her crate. So she had slept from 7:30 to 9. She really wasn't tired at 9. She was ready to go up and do something else. But I went ahead and put her back in her crate to teach her how to be content in her crate even when she isn't sleeping. So just wanted to throw that out there, because crate time not only is a good skill to have, it also is going to throw a really smooth rhythm into your daily routine. So I like to call it a schedule, but also it's more of a rhythm, because I'm not super strict with my schedules anyway. But if your puppy can predict when you are going to take him out, and you can predict when he needs to go out, you guys are going to be working together a little bit on this, because if he knows that you're going to take him out at a certain time, he's going to start learning how to hold it until that time. So if everything is just completely random, you feed him randomly, you water him randomly, all that kind of stuff is random, he is not going to have any reason to hold it, because he never knows when you're going to take him out. But if his food is regular, his water is regular, you taking him out is regular, he is going to catch on to that schedule and start being able to hold it longer and longer and longer. And that is what we want. That's part of our goal here. Something else, so check my notes, make sure I'm not missing anything. So with the water, you'll see here I have water scheduled out. We are not restricting water. we're not preventing our puppy from drinking insulin. We don't want to dehydrate our puppy, but we are scheduling it because some puppies will just slurp up water and then they have to go, they'll just slurp up water and then they'll slurp up water for fun. And they'll have to be going out really, really frequently. And so to make your job a little easier, just schedule it out every couple hours because they really don't need to have it all the time. They can have it a little bit more scheduled out. And that'll help you be able to predict when they need to go out, which is really important, like we've already talked about. So, like I said, feel free to, you can copy the schedule, tweak it. This just gives you an idea of what is appropriate amounts of time for you to expect for him to be able to go. So how long you can expect him to go. Obviously, there's some time frames on here that you're going to need to take him out more often than what I have scheduled. Like I said, all the things we talked about already, when's he drank last, how much did he drink, if he's playing hard, you're going to need to take him out more often than what the schedule indicates. But it still kind of gives you an idea of what is appropriate for a puppy during potty training. So another tool that we have is making the most of our trips outside. So outside is where we want the pottying to happen. So we need to really make sure we handle our trips outside really, appropriately. The first thing I would really recommend is have a designated toilet area. So this is just a place in your yard. It doesn't have to be super defined. It's just kind of a general area where you always take your puppy out to go to the bathroom. It's just kind of his area that when he goes there, he knows exactly what he's supposed to do. He knows he's supposed to go to the bathroom. A tip you can do if anyone who is bringing home a puppy anytime soon is when you first bring him home and he has his first accident in the house, which is probably going to happen. Just clean it up with a paper towel. And we'll talk about how to clean up accidents in a minute. But just clean it up with a paper towel and stake that paper towel out in your potty training area, your toilet area outside. And when he goes there, he will smell it and that will trigger in his brain, oh, I'm supposed to go potty here. That is the main function of the toilet area. Not only is it help with consistency, but it also helps with triggering, when I'm here, this is what I do. And that will help him learn to go to the bathroom quickly when you take him out, which is really helpful. Nobody really wants to be standing out for hours on end. Okay, not hours, but you know what I mean, for a long time. When they're waiting for the puppy to finally go. We want it to be a little bit of a quicker thing, especially if it's cold outside or anything like that. We want it to be quicker. Another tip is to use a keyword or phrase. So this is something like, I use the phrase go potty. So it could be, you can use anything, it just needs to be consistent, but common ones are do your business, go potty, hurry up, things like that. And that is another trigger for him. It teaches him, that's when I say this cue phrase that you need to go. How you teach that, it would be to, when you take him out, watch him really closely. And when he starts to go, like right before he starts to do it, say your phrase, say your word. And then as soon as he starts to go, quietly praise him, because we don't want to distract him, because some puppies are really distractible while they're going. And we do not want them to stop before they're done. And then as soon as he finishes, give him a treat or give him praise or do playtime or something. Reward him for doing that, which brings us into our next one. Reward him for going outside. That's because that's really important. That's how you're going to teach him outside is a proper place to do it. Because just like if we told him to sit and he sat, we would reward him for doing that. Well, if we take him to go outside and he goes to the bathroom outside like we want him to, we're going to reward him for doing that. We want that to happen again in the future. So definitely reward him. Treats are really helpful here. It doesn't have to be treats though. I'm actually notorious for forgetting my treats when I'm potty training my puppy. I forget them. I should do better at that. But treats are really helpful. They can help speed up the learning process. But if you don't have treats, just praise them, kind of throwing a little party. Hey, you went great. Another thing is when you first take your puppy outside, we don't do any playtime until after he goes. And then once he goes, it's kind of like going to the bathroom outside unlocks playtime and he can have a fun time. That is a reward. So anything like that is going to be really, really helpful to your trips outside. It's going to make that a really a much more powerful tool than just taking them outside and hoping that they catch the hint. So double check my notes, make sure I'm not forgetting anything, because I think I am actually. Oh, so like I was saying in the beginning, when you're first trying to develop this toilet area, you might want to leave a couple of stools out there. Obviously, you want the area to be clean, or that's health reasons, for obvious reasons, and he's also not going to want to go in an area that's dirty. But in the beginning, it can be really helpful to leave a stool or two out there to help trigger his mind. This is what we're supposed to do. Another tip is, although we've talked about all these different things we're supposed to do, especially the rewarding him, when you're making trips outside at night, that is not ideal. We really want our puppies to learn to hold it through the whole night. So if we have to do a trip outside at night, we make it as boring as possible. So no treats, no playtime, no praise. We just go out there as quick as we can, do our business, and come right back in and go right back to bed. We don't want a puppy who learns that if he cries in the night, he gets to go outside and do something fun. If he gets bored in the middle of the night or something like that, that's a great way for him to decide, oh, I want something a little more interesting. This is kind of boring. No, we want him to sleep through the night. So we obviously don't want to get on to him for waking us up in the middle of the night if he does and truly does need to go. But we can just need to be a super boring person. You can even be like a little cold, just a little stiff and a little cold. Obviously not getting on to him by any means, but just this is not really fun. It's not really the ideal. I really wish you would sleep the night through instead. So that is really important. So no, reward him for going outside except that night. We just want to keep that as boring as possible. So how to handle accidents. Obviously, we want to prevent accidents, but as much as we try, it's almost a guarantee that we're probably going to have at least one accident. I've never been able to house train a puppy without having at least one accident. Doesn't mean it can't happen, it just is likely not to happen that way. So even though we're going to do everything we can to prevent them, accidents happen, and you need to know how to handle them in the best way possible. So we already talked about how, we're not going to discipline them for the accident because that doesn't really help. Because the way I look at it, whenever there's an accident in the house, it's because I didn't manage the situation properly. It's a fault on my end. I did something wrong. So it's my fault, not my puppy's fault. During the potty training process, at least. So if you come in and you see your puppy actually going on the floor, you catch him in the act, then you can just pick him up and take him outside. In this situation, the best scenario here would be you catch him quick enough that he needs to finish outside. So that is just the best scenario. That way he is going outside. Even if he didn't start there, he's finishing there, and that's important. But if he's already made the mess, when you find out, just clean it up, like with a paper towel or whatever, just like normal. The most important part is that the cleaner you use needs to be one with enzymes in it. If you're going to get a store-bought one, it needs to be one with enzymes in it, because you want it to break down the odor, because dogs are really sensitive to smell, obviously, and when they have an accident in the house, it has the potential to develop a scent spot, which is pretty much the same idea, like with our toilet area outside, we have those scents and the routine and everything triggers your puppy to go. Well, if you get a scent spot in the house, then it can trigger your puppy to go there again, and which is not what we want. So cleaning it using a cleaner that has enzymes that it's going to break down that odor is really important. Make sure you do not use one that contains ammonia, because ammonia is part of the makeup of urine, and so we do not want to use something that smells just like urine to clean up because that will definitely prevent, I lost the word I wanted to use, that's going to be working against us. Another thing you can use to clean the urine spot with is white water and white vinegar. It doesn't have to be white water, okay? Water and white vinegar. Do like 2 parts water and 1 part vinegar, and like put it in a spray bottle, and you can add a squirt of detergent, like dish detergent. That is a great cleaner. Vinegar is known to neutralize odors, and so that is what actually I use most of the time anyway, is just a vinegar water solution, and that is fairly effective. So Something else, I mean, if you have an accident in the crate, nobody wants to have an accident in the crate. That's, if you've read the ebook, that you remember me mentioning, that was like one of my worst fears, is that you don't want a puppy who has accidents in the crate, um, regularly anyway. But if you have an accident in the crate, it's not the end of the world. But pretty much the same cleanup routine. It needs to be a cleaner that is going to minimize the smell or neutralize the smell. For your puppy, especially if it's a plastic crate or anything plastic, because plastic is porous. So just clean it well. If your puppy's messy, clean him too. That sort of thing. And just when you do have an accident, when your puppy does have an accident in the house, cleanup is important, but also just analyzing, why did we have this accident? Did I get distracted and I forget to take him out? That's usually my biggest problem, is I forget to take him out. Or, I had let him run around the house without being supervised, or what did I just think he could handle it? Did I just expect him to be able to handle it hold it longer, and he just wasn't able to? Because our puppies, they actually do not have complete bladder control. Their bladder control muscles are not completely developed until they're about 6 months old. So they really can't hold it for a very long time. They just physically cannot hold it for super long times when they're young. So maybe you overestimated how long he could hold it. Analyze what it is, because you really need to change what you're doing so we can prevent this in the future from happening again. So I think I covered everything. Yeah. So if you guys have any questions about any of this that I've talked about, or something I didn't talk about, just put those questions into the group and I can answer them there. I did have one question that I needed to answer in this video about how to train a puppy to go to the door, because her owners do not really want to do bells. So yes, you can definitely train them to go to the door instead of using like bells. Although I've heard that bells can be really, really effective. A very, very effective training communication aid, really, basically, to teach them to ring the bells when we go outside. I personally have never trained a dog successfully to use a bell. Part of it is probably because my heart wasn't really in it, because I really didn't want to do bells anyway. So what I would do to teach her to go to the bathroom, or to go to the door to let you know she needs to go to the bathroom, would be to obviously take her to the same door every time, take her to the same spot every time, just the super consistency. Another thing would be, when you take her to the door to take her out, every single time, have her sit and give her a treat for sitting by the door, and then go outside. Because she's going to catch on, if that's a routine, she's going to learn to jump the routine. And if she needs to go outside, she's going to go and sit by the door, because that's part of the routine. And that can become a way of her communication to you. Another way, or, that I like the idea of, kind of using something that, like for me personally, I like to ask my dogs questions. So I ask them things like, do you want something to eat? Do you want to go outside? Do you want to drink? And so like going outside, if you guys remember, anyone who's read the ebook remembers from the me mentioning Charlie, and how I would ask him, do you want to go outside? And he would bark, he would run to the door, he would tell me somehow that he needed, yes, he needed to go outside. If he a lot of times he would come and get me, but how I start teaching that is by just before I take them out, a lot of times saying, do you need to go outside? And then examining them, watching for some sort of signal from them that they do, they need to go outside. So Charlie was very expressive. Jubes, on the other hand, is not very expressive at all. Actually, just about a month ago, I kind of had a little bit of a struggle with her, because it's like, she's 6 months old. I really feel like she should be more consistently telling me that she needs to go out. And I really just had to kind of stop and reevaluate and realize I was expecting a little bit too much from her at her age, but because she's still not an adult yet, even at 6 months old. But also had to just hone in, okay, what is her signal to tell me she needs to go outside? And for her, if I ask her, do you need to go outside? She will lick her lips if she needs to. Which is, it took a little while for me to figure that out. It's so subtle. It's so different from like Charlie or other dogs that I've had in the past. But that is very consistently what she needs. So, you can go with what your dog naturally does, or you can teach a response like sitting at the door, or you can use bells because those are very, very effective. So anyway, I hope that answers your question. Like I said, if anybody has any questions or any follow-ups or something I didn't cover, go ahead and put those directly in the group, or you can email them to me. But as far as I can tell, I've covered everything, so we should be good. Have a great day.